Island Sunday morning.
Panic Leaguer reports the suspect is facing murder and arson charges.
According to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata entered the United States illegally from Guatemala in 2018. He was then removed but re-entered the U.S. again, according to ICE. He was placed into custody on Sunday after 3 teenagers recognized him from photos released by the NYPD. Monday afternoon, Zapata was walked out in handcuffs from the 60th Precinct in Coney Island and taken to Central Booking in downtown Brooklyn. He's facing charges of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and first-degree arson. Police say he came up to a woman who was apparently sleeping in a train car Sunday morning and set her clothes on fire, killing her.
The suspect used what we believe to be a lighter to ignite the victim's clothing, which became fully engulfed in a matter of seconds.
Officials do not believe they knew each other and there was no interaction between the two. NYPD circulated photos of him from body cam footage and cameras inside the subway cars. A disturbing image from that incident, which we are blurring, shows the suspect sitting on the platform watching the woman burn.
Unbeknownst to the officers who responded, the suspect had stayed on the scene and was seated on a bench on the platform just outside the train car. And the body-worn cameras on the responding officers produced a very clear, detailed look at the killer.
It was those clear photos that allowed 3 teenagers to recognize him on the subway and call 911. Police made the arrest at the 34th Street Herald Square station. He was wearing the same clothes and had a lighter in his pocket, according to officials.
They saw something, and they said something, and they did something.
The incident disturbing both commuters and city leaders. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez released a statement that reads in part, "This gruesome and senseless act of violence against a vulnerable woman will be met with the most serious consequences." ICE says enforcement and removal operations will lodge an immigration detainer with the NYPD against Zapata. Sources say he may be arraigned as early as this evening. His address is listed as a men's shelter.
In a shocking and horrific incident, a woman was set on fire and killed on a New York City subway train. The brutal attack occurred around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, as the F train approached its final stop in Brooklyn. According to police, the suspect, who has now been arrested, approached the sleeping woman on the train and callously ignited her clothes using a lighter. Disturbingly, the attacker remained on the platform, watching as the victim's clothes rapidly became engulfed in flames. There appeared to be no prior interaction between the victim and the suspect. Officers nearby noticed the smoke and rushed to investigate, using fire extinguishers to douse the flames. Tragically, the woman succumbed to her injuries at the scene. Later that day, a person of interest was apprehended, thanks to the quick thinking of 3 high school students who spotted the individual on another subway train and alerted authorities. Police intercepted the train and made the arrest. This appalling act of violence has left the community reeling, raising concerns about safety on public transportation. As the investigation continues, many are demanding answers and justice for the innocent victim.
Here in New York, the man arrested in the horrific burning death of a woman on a subway train is now charged with first-degree murder. Police say 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata is a native of Guatemala who was in the U.S. illegally. He's accused of setting fire to the victim, then watching her burn to death. Police arrested him hours after Sunday's attack after a group of high school students said they recognized the suspect from photos of the crime scene. The victim has not yet been identified.
Breaking news, the Guatemalan who only a few hours ago set a sleeping New York City subway rider on fire so that he could watch her burn to death has just been caught and arrested. Records show he had been detained by patrol agents in Arizona just after arriving in the U.S. in 2018. We are currently awaiting more information on the circumstances of his background check, if he did indeed have one, and his subsequent release.
What is up, True Crimers, and welcome back. So stories like this make me not proud to say that I'm from New York, but a very bizarre, scary, and disturbing thing happened. Apparently, a refugee set a woman on fire and proceeded to watch her burn to death for absolutely no reason. So Sebastian Zapata, who is 33 years old, was riding an F train when he spotted a woman who was motionless. It is believed that she was asleep, but it has not been confirmed. But nonetheless, according to police, the two are not believed to have known each other or have had any interaction because she was literally laying down. That is when Sebastian, who was supposedly intoxicated at the time, decided to ignite her clothing with a lighter, which became engulfed in flames within seconds. And she then burned to death, with people screaming and running like crazy because it was just such a crazy scenario. I actually watched a video of some people running away on the train. I felt so bad for everybody because it just looked so fucking terrifying, and I could not imagine how that woman felt and how scared she was. That's literally what I told my mom. I was like, what the fuck is this? After committing the act, he got off the train but did stay in the vicinity of the area, and the police were actually not aware, so he ended up getting away. But the suspect was noticed by 3 different high schoolers who called 911 to report him. He was then caught in Herald Square. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with this because my mind is like blown. I have to tell you, and like I said, it makes me not proud to report on these stories when they happen in New York. Like, this shit is crazy. They have to have more intense police activity going on. Everybody knows I love NYPD, but like, they have to do something because this shit is just out of freaking control at this point. Yeah, like, I feel like these stories are like a sign of the times, like a sign that the end is near, because it's like, what the hell? Like, she didn't even do anything, so what the hell?
So, we have some breaking news coming out of the Leading Report. Representative Ana Paulina Luna calls for the death penalty for the Guatemalan migrant who was reportedly deported under the Trump administration and later returned to burn a woman alive on the New York City subway. That's what that looked like. This is Sebastian Zapita. He is being charged with first and second degree murder after approaching a woman and then setting her on fire with a lighter. He was originally deported under the Trump administration back in 2018, and then he came back over under the Biden-Harris administration. I 100% agree with Representative Ana Paulina Luna in calling for the death penalty for this individual. Let me know what you think in the comments section.
NYC. What the First and foremost, condolences to that young lady, whoever she may be, that was set on fire and murdered in NYC. Now, minding your own business is one thing, but to be on a transit line in one of the most populous cities in America, and you see someone set on fire and no one help her? No one? If you can, avoid all the footage out there because it is really, really gruesome. Second of all, clothing manufacturers. I had no clue that clothes were that flammable. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I'm like slow when it comes to fabrics, but I had no clue that you could just set clothes ablaze like that. No fluid, no nothing. Like, just put a lighter to it and you'll go up in flames. And I do think it is kind of sad in today's generation that, people are probably more concerned about getting out of the way of danger than possibly helping someone in danger. And I can't necessarily judge those folks around that woman who was on fire because I really don't know what I would do in that situation. But I'd like to believe that I'd have the knowledge to maybe take off my jacket or something and try to help put the lady out. Oh, my goodness.
I'm not the only one that heard the story of the man. He set a woman on fire in New York on the subway. This situation happened in New York. So this man, he was on the subway and a lady was sleeping and he had a lighter in his hand and he ended up lighting her clothes on fire. So this story is crazy, but what is even more crazier about the story is about the people that were walking by. They did not help her. They were actually just filming and recording this on their phones, and the police officers, they walked by her too and they didn't help her at all. So what the guy did, he lit her on fire and he actually just sat there and watched. He was trying to fan the lady, but when he was fanning her, the fire got worse on her. So unfortunately, she passed away and they ended up finding him on another subway. So I will let y'all take a look at the news clip.
Fire on a subway train. 39-year-old Sebastian Zapata is charged with murder and arson for starting that fire that killed a woman who was sleeping on an F train in Brooklyn over the weekend. Police believe she was homeless. Authorities tell us he is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala who snuck back into the United States after being deported back in 2018. Eyewitness News reporter Dan Kraft live outside the train station in Coney Island where this nightmare unfolded. Dan?
Sandra, it is a nightmare. I watched videos of what happened. Videos we're not releasing publicly, and they are horrendous. Police say the man walked up to a stranger on the subway, got out a lighter, and lit her clothes on fire. When police arrested him, they found that lighter in question in his pocket.
Why did you do it?
At 33 years old, Sebastian Zapata has been charged with first-degree murder. Our cameras rolled as police took him to lockup. But it's not the first time he was caught on camera. Police didn't know it at the time, but their body cameras captured a shot of him Sunday morning when they first rushed to the station. Seen sitting calmly on a bench, watching the woman burn to death. This is after police say he used a lighter to ignite her clothes on fire on the F train in Coney Island. Once they released his picture, a group of teenagers spotted him on a different train and called 911.
Something is clearly wrong with a person that would set an innocent individual on fire, a woman, and sit there and watch her burn.
We're learning new details about the suspect. Zapata is a citizen of Guatemala. Police say he crossed the border into Arizona in June of 2018. He was detained and deported days later, but snuck back into the country. He last lived at a homeless shelter in East New York.
This person was snuck into the country after being removed from the country, what my preliminary reports are giving me. I've been talking about this over and over again.
Police have not released the identity of the victim yet, saying her body was burned beyond recognition. The Brooklyn District Attorney issuing a statement that reads in part, "The depravity of this horrific crime is beyond comprehension, and his office is committed to bringing the perpetrator to justice. This gruesome and senseless act of violence against a vulnerable woman will be met with the most serious consequences." The crime happening on a violent weekend for the city subway system. In addition to the brutal burning, there was a stabbing and a shooting. The same weekend, the governor rode the subway, touting how cameras and the National Guard have made it safer. We found some crime, like robberies, is down by double digits this year compared to last.
It's these high-profile cases that strike at our psyche and make us feel unsafe, and that's what I'm fighting against every day.
Officers say Zapata will be transferred over to federal custody and will face removal proceedings shortly. This story is already getting national and even international attention right now due to some high-profile social media posts, including posts from Elon Musk over the past 24 hours. Reporting live in Coney Island tonight, Dan Crowell, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
So what are your thoughts on this story?
Hello, you guys. Well, as you guys know, that murdering fuck has been caught. Excuse my language. And he is doing his little perp walk. But have you guys noticed in the news segments, it says he has been charged with first-degree murder and arson. But did you guys notice that he has not been charged with terrorism? Says a lot, right? Like I said in my Luigi video, when I found out he got charged with terrorism, why didn't he get charged with terrorism? He literally set this woman on fire in a crowded train car with a bunch of people. Yo, and he ain't getting charged with terrorism? It's funny how Luigi Mangione is getting charged with terrorism because he shot a rich man, but this homeless woman sleeping on a train car is not rich, but she got set on fire, but he's not getting charged with it. Funny how that works. The poor gets the regular, the rich gets the ultra, right? You guys, this is what the world comes to. And this is what us little men have to deal with. I hope. Oh, and the funny thing I found out, you guys, as I was doing the research, this man was deported back when Trump was president the first time. And then he snuck back in. You guys, snuck back into the United States from Guatemala. And now, all these years later, he just decides to just set a random woman on fire for no reason. No reason at all. When this man was doing his perp walk, there was no Mayor Eric Adams. There was no SWAT, no military, no nothing at this man's side, just two damn cops. Okay? You know, why are they treating this man any different than Luigi Mangione? And they're both murderers. This says a lot. I really hope this man, this illegal, gets the death penalty for what he did to this woman, a stranger, on a car seat in a train car, just minding her own business. It's ridiculous, you guys. Very ridiculous. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great day, YouTube.